I'm gonna get the mag out, get the new mag into the gun, bolt lock. Hey guys, welcome back to Triple F Shooting. It has been a little bit. First part of the year was kind of busy, and as you can tell, this is going to be a kind of a busy video. So there's just a big mess of junk on the table because we're going to talk about like a truck gun. If you should carry one, what should you carry, and kind of tried to hit a bunch of bases. Some of them don't make as much sense as others, and we'll kind of get all the way through that. So I had all this crap on the table just to say that. We're going to go ahead and clear it and go one by one, but what we're going to do is focus on each category, kind of where it fits in, and again, I've said this in other videos, but to start all this, I am nobody special. I'm just some guy. This is just my line of thinking. I have no law enforcement background. I have no military background, so we'll go ahead and start there. If those are needed for you, that's not me. I'm just some guy that really likes guns and sits around like game theories this crap all day and thinks about stupid stuff. So that's what you're here to listen to. Cool, that's what's going to happen. If not, thanks. See you in another one maybe. All of these guns are kind of an aside from your carry gun. Just do that right up front as a caveat. If you're not carrying a gun on your person, that's a better place to start. Like if you have the ability to concealed carry and legally can do that and all that good stuff, don't forget the spare mag, but if you can concealed carry where you're at, I would suggest that over all of this, because that 99% of the time is going to be all that you need, if you even need anything at all. So that's going to blow most of this video into the doesn't matter very much sphere. And with all that, let's get into it. Okay, we are going to go kind of by size. That's the easiest way I can make this all just flow together. So we're going to start out with handguns, but before we get too deep into handguns, this channel deals with, firearms of various make and model, but a lot of it is geared toward your personal protection. So with that, if you're going to protect your person from violence, you should probably also be thinking about protecting yourself from everything else, the online, your financials, all that other stuff. And that's why we are glad to show you Aura, our sponsor for today's video. Hey guys, I'd like to take a moment to tell you about today's sponsor, who we thank very much, and that is Aura. While really cool guns and stuff like this can protect you from physical attackers or whatnot, such as this guy, it's way more likely that you're going to have your information abused and used by data brokers than you're going to be attacked by a Chris Farley-esque 80s cop target. So with that, Aura provides a great deal of services that kind of span a large range, much farther than just your typical VPN. It is a one-stop shop that really helps track things like your passwords, bank information, credit score, how often your information is being accessed online. It really keeps everything in check for you. One group that I believe is actually more susceptible to that kind of thing is military members, either active or veterans. It's kind of disgusting, but found out through a study by Duke University researchers that military members and veterans information is extremely likely to be used. I'm assuming that's because it's all kind of in one place and can easily be picked up, but the researchers at Duke essentially faked being a offshore data broker company, asked for permissions for information of veterans and active members, and didn't have very much trouble getting it. Very cheaply, I might add. So that's yucky, but they were able to access information ranging from addresses, names, bank information, religious practices, different kinds of movement through the community, your cell phone number so that they can call you and give you all the annoying spam calls you don't want to be on. All of that can be taken care of with Aura. Aura's services can get you off those data broker lists. They're very easy to use. It tracks multiple other things outside of just that, and it even provides some identity theft insurance to the tune of $1 million. Aura's pricing is very affordable. There are different plans for different groupings, such as, you know, just an individual through family. And I really do think you guys should head over to aura.com/FFF shooting. Check them out. Their stuff is really helpful. I've been using it for around 2 months now and have actually really enjoyed all the different features and assets that they provide. So without further ado, we'll get back to the video. Thank you again for watching the ad, and thank you to Aura. Okay, thanks for watching the ad. Don't skip it, and we'll get into the video. The first thing we're going to talk about that some people would consider a truck gun would be a larger handgun. Just to reiterate, it's my pocket lint. This is my carry gun. It is a Smith & Wesson Shield Plus. This is a Glock 34. You can tell this one is obviously much larger. I would consider this easier to shoot. It carries more ammo, all that good stuff. I can get it into a holster that I might be quicker with on the hip. This maybe isn't a great example of a good holster. This is just one that's laying around. So, a larger handgun. This is probably kind of almost unnecessary for a lot of people. You might carry another handgun in your vehicle, and that's all well and good. If that's the only thing you have that you want to carry, cool. This is easier to shoot than a concealed carry piece in most cases because it's a little heavier, more to get a hold of, the recoil is going to be more manageable, and generally speaking, you get more capacity. You also have capacity to mount larger lights on the Shield Plus. The best I can hope to put on there is a TLR6, which is good enough. It's not excellent. It's good for that size of gun. I really like the light. It just doesn't produce a whole lot. It's kind of like putting your cell phone light on the end of your gun. It's light. So, large handgun, you get capacity. You don't gain really a whole lot in the power factor because you're using generally the same caliber as your carry gun. This is 9mm with hollow points. You know, you can go plus P or whatever and shoot this a little easier, but this is kind of just doing the same thing as your carry gun. It's just a little easier to shoot all the way around. So that's why, depending upon your environment, this isn't really much of a bump. It's not a huge upgrade. If you live in a heavily urban area, this might be all you can get away with as far as staying kind of low profile. We will start the whole idea with, this is all based on like something really, really bad happens while you're not at home. The whole point of a truck gun is to get home to the rest of your stuff, and this is going to help you do that. A huge part of that is concealability. So points toward the handgun in that factor. It's bigger, easier to shoot, but you can hide it a whole lot better than, say, a rifle or a shotgun. That's really all I got on handguns. So that's going to lead into kind of a mid-tier class of PDW or braced firearm, or if you go the whole way with the SBR. Now, this is just a Glock 17. I could very easily put this Glock 34 in it, but this is a Recover Tactical. We haven't done like a full video on the thing. This Glock has been in a bunch of videos, but this basically takes a handgun, again, same caliber, very similar size. It's obviously bigger in some aspects, but that's mainly because of this thing. But now it is much, much easier to shoot at distance. Into a full-size handgun, I wasn't quite getting into the fact that we can do that kind of thing. Now, there is a national injunction on the whole brace ban, so that's what we're operating off of right now. But this is a Glock 17. You've seen it on the channel, just probably not in this chassis. So this is just the Recover 2020. It is actually pretty neat. We have a mag pouch on the front, so I can carry a full magazine in the gun and a spare magazine underneath. It has, this is really bulky and huge, but I can put a weapon light on it if I so choose. And then because I have the optic, I kind of get around some of the problems that the 2020 has inherent to it. So one of the issues that people have with it is when you go to aim down the sights, your cheek is kind of jammed into different stuff. If I have to use my iron sights, I really have to get way up high on my cheek. With this red dot standing up, I don't have to be quite so, you know, on the gun. I can get more of a normal cheek weld. So this thing even has the ability to have a single point sling. There is nothing in the gun at the moment. Get my hood all through here. So one really cool thing is this doesn't weigh a whole lot more than a Glock 17. So I'm not super encumbered. If I wanted to get really cute about it, I could put it on, get my jacket over the top of it, and this is still going to be semi-concealable within my jacket. Since I've already put it on over the top, it's not going to help much, but you can see how this looks really cumbersome and stupid. But if I put it on, then put my jacket on, it's a lot better. So if you're feeling like you want to be in the 80s and, you know, put your Uzi under your coat, you can do that. So let's see how the thing actually performs. So we are at about 18 yards, and the first thing that we're going to do with these truck guns is kind of talk about what's it take to get it up and running if you're not going to leave it loaded. So with something like a handgun, rack it or leave it loaded. It's not, you know, the end of the world. So all I have to do to rack this, that was simple. So the worst part's just getting the sling on, and I don't really have to do that. That is totally up to you. I like guns to have slings on them. So we are racked. I have 2 fresh targets. And again, we're at about 20 yards. So I'm going to put, let's say, I'm going to go for a just 2 to the chest at this distance and see how well I do with this chassis on. So recoil on it is not bad. It kicks like a Glock that has a little bit more crap hanging off of it, so the recoil is very, very minimal. Let's go see how we did. So I have 2 rounds pretty much almost touching, so I don't really think I can do that very well at 20 yards with a regular Glock 17, but when you throw it in a chassis and give yourself an extra point of contact, it really, really helps. So let's run it at speed up close a few times and see how that goes. All right, so we're gonna go for 5 rounds pretty quick. We are at 5 yards. If you can give me the beep. Beep. Okay, so we have come to slide lock, which all of this still functions just like a regular pistol. I can dump my mag and then retrieve my mag. Now, I have a really hard time getting up into that cute little crevice, so I just do the whole slingshot thing, and we're back up and running. So, that is the first of our list of truck guns. So where a handgun, for a lot of people, starts to open up quite a bit at 25, 30, maybe even 50 yards, this is going to close that group size way back down because I have an extra point of contact on the thing. Very same manual of arms, pretty much. You're just adding another point of contact with something like this, and it is very, very small and compact when you close everything up. Fits in a backpack, what have you, so you can keep this concealed for the most part. If you have to get it out, it has quite a bit more capability than this, but still small package. Okay, another idea on the braced firearm PDW kind of thing is something like this. Now the suppressor makes it freaking huge, but this is a Scorpion Evo. Alright, next on the list is another like PDW, but we're going to grow in size a little bit and then add just neat crap. Same kind of thing, we're going to shoot a couple times at this distance. I'm going to go for the white of the belly on this one just because that's the open spot that hasn't been shot up much. And then we'll go to another target. But retrieving the gun from the vehicle. So we have the Scorpion Evo. It's a load process. I have to get the mag in, rack the gun, and then get my dot up. So 3 or 4 more steps to that one where the Glock is press button, rack gun. This one I'm going to load up again, however you want to carry it. Also have this one I kind of hokied together, single point sling, but it does have a sling point loop. And again, very small, compact. The suppressor adds quite a bit of length to it. Standard length faux suppressor on this thing literally stops at the end of the handguard. See how it does. These are 147 grains, so this should be pretty quiet. All right, for his belly. That's so much fun. That suppressor's cool. All right, do some moving, shooting. Again, aiming for the low belly. If you could give me an up. Okay, one thing I forgot to do is if you're gonna carry something that requires bigger mags, I would suggest you have some way to carry them. Now that can be as easy as taking, you know, this one's empty, but I could take a stick and cram it in my pocket, put it in another pocket, but I would suggest you're probably leaving your vehicle for some reason, you're gonna want more ammo. So I literally hacked this together very quickly out of a bunch of like useless crap I had. I bought this old panel forever ago. Part of your process is going to be hard, is it to get it? And since I'm but a wee lad, I have to kind of reach for all these buckles and stuff. So, this is a very small, again, I could put it on under my jacket kind of rig. It has a cheesy utility pouch, and then I got my mags. So, let's see what this looks like now. We'll do some moving and shooting. When you're ready. Up. Okay, then we're about 5 yards. I will get to a reload here, so I'm just going to do a couple box drills, but you can see how the gun recoils and everything. Okay, so we are now dry. So the reload on this guy, this big button down here, I like to just use my thumb. So I'm gonna come in, grab that, strip it, new mag, up and in, bolt lock. You can tell those are 115s because they're quite a bit louder. For giggles, we can shoot steel plates with it. So again, I have gained another point of contact, which makes this much, much easier to shoot than a handgun. It is still a handgun caliber, and in this case, it's still an extremely short barrel, so you're really not doing anything ballistically different than this 34. But, again, much, much easier to shoot. Now I can really up the capacity because a small mag that helps it fit into like a backpack or whatever is still 20 rounds, and then I can very quickly bump up to a 35 round mag, and this is even more shootable than, say, the Recover Tactical PDW kind of thing, because that's pretty flexy. And it's not the best you could do. It's not super solid. This is much more solid. I have a full-size optic that is not tracking back and forth as I fire. And the trigger's decent. We have upgraded it on this. We'll probably do a full video on this at some point in this configuration. But a little bit more weight, therefore the recoil drops off quite a bit. It's not snapping right in my face like with that Recover Tactical. So we're just upping capacity and shootability again. Still, same caliber, not gaining a lot there, but you can make hits a lot better out to, say, 100 yards, where a handgun or even that Recover Tactical is going to be a little tougher. Again, this is more urban setting. If you have to, absolutely have to have something, you know, that's more capable than a handgun, but you want to retain that concealability and make it small, you could even, without the suppressor, keep this somewhat tucked away behind a jacket, something like that, that you're not running around like, look at me, I have big gun, especially in a time of problem. But there is the PDW set. All the while I'm talking, there will be background of these things being shot. I will probably go through like carrying ammo for these things. Obviously, with a handgun, or even your Recover Tactical job, You can very easily slap on a couple more mags onto your hip. They're very concealable and small, easy to keep out of the way. If you stick with a regular handgun, you can just kind of go with the bigger paddle holsters. You can slap it on, what have you. When you start getting into things that take, you know, big long stick mags, you may, and don't have to, but you may want to go into, this is super cheesed up, you'll see it in the video, but some kind of chest rig. Now, got it all wrapped up. I literally just plapped all this together. Plapp's not a word. Popped all this together with junk that I had from my glory days of buying crap that's not very good. But it worked out on the range for a short time, and it's fairly small to the chest. Jacket on, this is not nearly so obvious. Jacket off, and it becomes much more obvious. So, carrying ammo, once you get into a larger gun, is going to become more showy. People are going to notice you. Now, speaking of notice you, it's going to break us into the long guns. Alright, so this isn't really super serious. This is just kind of in here because you can. We did a video literally getting this out of a vehicle and shooting it through the door frame. A while back when we did the whole review on the thing. It's neat. That's about it. It's very, very niche. Witness protection thought it was a good idea for a very short stint. Don't know if it was ever used in that capacity to any great effect. You can make this work. I just don't see a whole lot of point in doing that. This is kind of a fun gun. It has the similar look as a Witsec shotgun. That's why I have it. I don't necessarily plan to rely on this for anything serious. Again, you can make it work. You start throwing bigger loads in there and hanging onto this forend in an actual shooting position where you can aim becomes really cumbersome. You start to lose the grip if you're wearing gloves, anything slick at all. It's not great. You're slower because you have no stock. There it is though. Okay, this is obviously a more serious option. All right, next one actually makes sense for a shotgun, and then we've got a better, much better way to carry stuff and ammo. So, first thing, we'll actually do this correctly. I get out my carrier. This also depends on how much stress you're in, because fumbling around with your chest rig, something very bad potentially is happening. Not something you want to do. Okay. Jackets make everything more fun. So, this thing could be donned and just kind of dangled until you got into a better spot, because this is by no means the quickest maneuver. All right. Oh. That probably gives away what the next one is, but okay. Shotgun. All right. So this one actually makes sense to use if you're gonna. This is a Benelli Supernova. We will eventually do a full video on it. This one I have put a Velcro card system on the stock. One of the cons of this gun is you actually can't put a Velcro card anywhere here. You can see where some of the sticky stuff was, because the pump actually rides all the way back in there. So one negative point, but same thing. Cruiser ready, so empty shotgun, firing pin down so that I can just pump this and start what I need to do. I could also Velcro the cards to the front of my cute little fanny pack thing here, but a really neat feature is a shotgun card actually fits in a standard M4 pouch really, really well. It's about the same size as an AR-15 magazine, so I could carry cards in there, a couple on the front, and carry quite a bit of ammo with the thing if that's your, you know, what makes you giggle. So, right target again. So we are again at the 18 yards. I have a longer barrel. I actually have a stock, so this is going to hopefully go better. Yeah, so that is immensely easier to shoot. Oh. I just shot really expensive shells. That will be cool though, I guess. We'll get to see how well those did, because those are Hornady critical defense. Yeah, so you can see that the pattern is considerably tighter with those critical defense shells. Those Fiocchis out of that 14-inch barrel were kind of just spraying everywhere. I shot one pretty close, but a lot of that in those bigger holes is that critical defense buckshot, which I am now going to get out of the gun. Maybe. Yeah. Looks like a good place for him. That was almost cool. Alright. Okay, since we're unloaded, we can talk about reloading. I have a card on my shotgun to reload from. Unfortunately, because of where it is on the Benelli, it's not quite as easy as if I had it right there to just pull and pluck from. But I am at completely empty, so the first thing I'm going to do is reload from the breech. So bang, I'm empty. I can see I'm empty. Grab a shell, chuck it in, and I'm good to go now. If there's no reason for me to continue shooting, safety's on and all that, I'm going to go ahead and reload. There's a few different ways I can do that. I can keep on the gun. That's probably not as fast as rolling the gun over, but it's not terrible either. It's all up and in my face. I can keep my eyes forward and load the gun up. So now I have 6 rounds back in the gun, which is nice. So let's go ahead and shoot these. I'm gonna back up just a smidge. All right. So having a stock and a full-length gun makes the shotgun infinitely easier to run with. You can see it hits pretty hard. All right. So I have 3 rounds left in my gun, but my card's dry and nothing's really going on. So what I'm going to do now is get rid of that card. If, you know, I probably ought to try to hang on to it. Grab a new one. Cool, more ammo. So then I can, if I want to, replace that. If it was really serious, I'd just throw it on the ground. But now I have more ammo on my gun. I'm up and running again. I can do other reloads. You could potentially load the card upside down, or I could kind of do it like this. You see competition shooters will roll the gun up to their shoulder. Because of where this card is, it's not the greatest. I can still do it. It's not super handy because it's like in my jawline that I'm pulling shells from. I can just see where they're going a lot easier. So now we're up to a full load. Got a couple to spare. Full length 12 gauge. Should be noted, if I am wearing all this crap and I don't do it like under a jacket, even if I do it under a jacket, I look way more threatening than if I'm carrying, say, a handgun or one of those PDWs in a smaller rig. This looks like I'm like getting ready to go to fight. Not necessarily something you want to look like if you're just trying to get home, because now everyone's staring at you. I have a full-length gun and all this crap on me, but makes shooting at the range easier. Is getting into the much more outward appearance. It looks mean. You could go with a very basic pump shotgun that would be a lot less tactical, where the people that don't really look into guns or pay attention don't see this and like, oh, it's an assault shotgun, it's going to kill everyone. Might be safer that route with a wood stock, 4N, that kind of thing. People tend to not care quite as much. But this thing is much, much more capable than a handgun. It's just bigger. Ammo becomes heavier, harder to carry. But you get one shot stops with a 12 gauge. With buck and slugs, you can reach out. You start to worry about collateral damage with buckshot, especially cheap buckshot, because it opens up very quickly. At 20 yards, you're like within a torso, but starting to spread out. At 50 yards, you're going to be slinging pellets. Your environment is going to be a huge factor in what you pick, because while this is very, very effective, again, very large, not a lot of range, you're very outward in appearance, but super, super effective in close quarters, you know, urban type environment. It's kind of long, but you can put a light on the thing pretty easily. You can carry more ammo. The stinking sticky Velcro cards are very inexpensive. You can put them literally on anything. Definitely not near the capacity of anything else we've talked about, but you hit really hard. There's great utility here, dependent upon your shell choice. Still not maybe my pick. Environment's a big deal. I live in a more rural setting. If I go 40 minutes north, I'm in a very urban setting. If I go 40 minutes south, I'm out in the middle of nothing pretty much. So kind of have to pick what you're doing, where you're going. All right. And that leads everybody into the actual, in my opinion, the right answer, a basic AR. That's boring, I know. Everybody would probably say the same thing. I am no different. In this case, simple is good for me because you're going to leave this in your vehicle. All right, so the last one. I'm keeping this rig on so I don't have to put it all back on in front of you because it takes forever, which is not a good thing for truck carry. I guess if you can grab it, run off, and put it somewhere, that's great, but not great if it takes a while to get on. You can tell now I have rifle mags, which if you didn't think that there'd be a regular AR in this, you're kind of crazy. So let's check it out. All right, we have a very basic AR. I'm gonna get the thing up and running. All right, so I do have a sling on the rifle. So I will make use of said sling. Slings are important so you can still use your hands. These Magpul slings are really nice because I can get it really tight to my body so it doesn't bounce around a whole lot. I can loosen it up so it's a little easier to work with. So get my dot turned up. Okay, so we kind of have holes everywhere. Oh, yeah, you like the tape. So a weapon light and dot are kind of the basic add-ons for your gun. I wouldn't suggest going super crazy with it because you need it to be light. This is to get home. This is not, we're not going to full-blown war. So some people, you can even run just irons. This does have backups. So obviously this should be a whole lot easier than anything else we've shot so far. This should be the most capable thing. I should have hung a new target. I'm not going to.
Aim for the top right.
Because I'm a lazy turd. Yeah, I'll go for that little circle on the top right. 20 yards, I should be able to hit stuff. So here we go. All right, so not shooting crazy quick. This is just a mil-spec trigger, and I believe I have 3 holes in that top right circle. So as far as precision goes, power, all of that stuff, best bet's probably just a regular AR style rifle. So we'll do some shooting on the move. I don't think I put any rounds in the noggin yet, so we'll do that. So 4 in a noggin, there's my 3 from 20. Should go up and this is probably the easiest thing to shoot out of the list that we've got so far, other than maybe the pistol caliber stuff. But all right, no shooting steel with rifles, so we'll do a few on the we'll just do some basic failures until I run out of ammo and we can demonstrate a reload out of the chest rig. Ah, terrible. Okay, I am now dry. These are very old mil-spec mags. They still work pretty well. So now that I'm empty out of this chest rig, I'm gonna get the mag out, get the new mag into the gun, bolt lock. Neato, gang. So probably the most effective out of the list, but also the most kind of, other than maybe the shotgun, but most people are for some reason less scared of shotguns and rifles. I look like I'm going to fight somebody wearing all this crap. So that's the downside. We can talk more about that on the tabletop. So let's head that away. Why an AR? It doesn't weigh a whole lot. This is not, in this configuration, much heavier than that Scorpion. It's obviously a little bit, but we're talking 7.5 pounds loaded out like it is. Got the basic skinny handguard. This is actually a really neat Midwest Industries A-frame mount for your front sight post, and it just locks in a little chunk of Picatinny so you can put a light on the thing. I duct taped a pressure switch to it. I can put batteries for the thing in the grip, and then the optic that I have on here may not be everybody's favorite, but it has extremely long battery life and it's built like a tank. So for this particular reason, I have picked it. Other than that, in that amount of space, you get 30 rounds of very potent ammunition. I think everybody who was paying much attention got to see the Kenosha thing go on and saw that a 5.56 at close range is just gnarly. It retains the gnarliness out to a couple hundred yards with no problem, and even farther than that. Should you be shooting at anything at 200 yards if you're in a situation where you're trying to get home? Probably not, unless the Ruskies are invading Red Dawn style. So that is what it is. But you can collapse this thing down, get really tight to the gun for close quarters type stuff. Obviously, it's going to be adjustable for a various amount of shooters. So it's still light enough and easy enough to use for lots of people. Say you have to hand this off to your wife or something. Hopefully she shoots with you, because that's much cooler than if she doesn't. And she can run this with no problem. Recoil's no issue. You can make solid hits that actually do some good, effect. Because I live in a more rural area, this is the pick. It sits in pretty much the same amount of space as a pump shotgun with the crap I have on it. You can obviously make a standard pump shotgun much sleeker to fit into different places in your truck or car, but this gets a little bit smaller overall depending upon where you're putting it. If you really got to get tiny, you can get the whole folding stock mass, or you can go with something like the, holy cow, BRN 180, or if you're crazy, a SIG MCX, where you can fold the stock because it doesn't rely on that kind of system. Again, we're talking lots of money to just leave in your truck, so a very basic rifle is probably a good way to go. This is just a Palmetto lower that was on some kind of crazy sale forever ago. A Car 15 style stock, very small and lightweight, very cheap Car 15 style front end. Light's not terribly expensive. The optic you can find like police trade-ins, things like that, or you can go with like a SIG Romeo 5, will probably serve you for what you're doing. As long as you shoot the thing and it's reliable and you know it, you're good to go. Definitely my main choice for a truck gun. It does all the things you need it to. The main detractor or con of this is scary to a lot of people. If you're walking around with this thing just dangling off you, you're attracting attention. That's not really what you want to do if you want to get home. This is the most capable, also the most obvious. Also carrying ammo. In the video, and I think we've done a short on the thing too, you can see that chest rig. I am not going to like a firefight. A lot of people on YouTube seem to think like you need 15 mags because you're gonna go like fight the whole world and probably die doing it. I don't want to get in a fight. That's the point. Like, that's why this is kind of overkill, because it's obvious, but I'm not looking for a fight. I'm looking to get home. That's the purpose of the truck gun, not to go out and like start an assault on a building. Not really what we're looking for. So it only carries 4 mags. You could ditch one of those and put your gun, another pistol, in one of the mag holders where you got basically 1 on the gun, 3 on you. Marksmanship's a good deal. We're not able to really suppress. You can break contact and dump a whole mag or whatever, but I'm not in a squad of dudes. I don't need to behave like that in my line of thinking. Again, not in the military, so I don't count. But that's very big and outward. A couple of things you can do to kind of mitigate that. Got these cute pants on. Show you my cheeks here. So these are Vertex Defender jeans, and they can literally put a whole mag right behind normal pocket. You have a whole extra pocket. That's usually where I put like my flashlight and pocket knife, that kind of thing. But if you're looking to be a little more discreet, which you're still carrying a freaking rifle, so what's the point? But you could always ditch the rifle and not look scary if you're not wearing a big chest rig that's making you obvious. So just a thought. We'll get into like what I carry in some video like all the time, because I think everybody should just carry certain things, me being paranoid delusional. But that's kind of all I got for you. Hopefully I played enough videos of these things going off in the background not to bore you a ton, but that's kind of the list of truck guns. Again, depending upon, if you're in a more rural area, I don't know why you wouldn't go with this. You might be doing pest control, not people control. So this does the coyotes and the possums and all the other stuff around the farm that you would need it to do. Even hogs, if you wanted to press it into there, but you might want to go a little heavier. This would work. If you're in an urban environment where you ain't worried about hogs and feral wildlife, you're probably going for more of the handgun PDW route. That's probably the best case in my book for that, because you can conceal the thing a little better and it is more capable than your carry gun. Otherwise, this is all literally me talking about nothing, because this is what you need nearly 100% of the time, and you don't even really, you're probably never going to use it, hope to God, but this is going to do the thing in 99% of the situations. If you're trying to get home, you're not wanting to make a big footprint or be very loud, obnoxious, you don't want people to notice you, this fits under your clothes, no one knows you has it. If something happens at a defensive range, which most things do, that will get you through it, unless you're, again, Red Dawning. But then you can go like Liberator and use it to steal an AK from the dead Russian. I don't know if I can say that on YouTube. It's a lot of ranting. Thank you for watching Triple F Shooting. We will see you in the next video.